Vault 81 has a lot to do in it, and it's especially interesting considering it's the only intact vault, arguably, in the entire Commonwealth. This video is going to be a lot longer than the others, so be sure to check in the description for timestamps to figure out what part of the quest you need help with right now. Like, seriously, it's huge. It took me 8 pages in my notebook to get everything down for this video. The first quest associated with Vault 81 is getting into the vault. It's not that hard. The 2 ways to go about it are, after talking to the guy through the radio, agree to give the overseer fusion cores, or pass a high-level speech check and she'll just let you in. Don't panic about the fusion core bits. She only wants 3, which might be a little harder in the early game, but by mid-game it's probably not much of a challenge considering you walked all the way out there to begin with. Once you make your way into the main area of the vault, you'll be greeted by a boy named Austin Engil, who will offer you a tour of the vault for 5 caps. Pass a medium speech check to avoid paying the 5 caps, and humor him. Austin will take you around the whole vault, introducing you to all the characters you need to find later in order to complete all the quests in Vault 81. The tour will end with Austin introducing you to his friend, who's very upset about her cat Ashes going missing. That little shit was literally in the vault entrance. Why did you... Freaking cat! Agreeing to help find Ashes will start the quest Here Kitty, which is among the easier things you can do in the world of the Commonwealth. The cat is a short walk outside the vault, usually across the side of the lake. There's no enemies or anything, but if you want you can still escort the cat after telling it to go home. Return to the children to earn their thanks and a fusion core for your efforts. The next thing to do is a quest called Short Stories, which you can get by talking to Katy, the school teacher, and agreeing to come by the classroom to tell stories about the outside world. Wait around until class is actually in session, and then just talk to Katy to begin the quest. The students will immediately start asking you questions about deathclaws and stuff, and really, you can answer whatever you want here. It's not going to negatively affect the outcome, even if the teacher asks you to stay away from the violent, scary stuff. You'll get a free Grognak the Barbarian comic that'll give you a nice little stat boost, and you'll be on your merry way with a bit of experience in your pocket. Speaking of skill books, pay a visit to Horatio's barber shop to get a copy of Taboo Tattoos. After you pick that up, head over to the botany wing with the scientist and agree to take one of her MutFruits for trial purposes. The only thing you're really going to get out of this is a free MutFruit. That's not really going to do anything to you. But you still need to do this little task to make sure that a quest is triggered in the near future. Finally, head over to the infirmary and agree to have a blood sample taken out so that a doctor can further his medical research. Now, before you leave the vault, check the shop if you want to get your hands on a really cool combat rifle. It's pretty expensive, but certainly worth the money if you've got it. Personally, I'd suggest holding off for now. Now you're going to have to leave Vault 81 for about 24 hours in order for certain events to trigger. Now would be the time to go and get your hands on some serious high rate of fire weaponry. You're going to really need it for this upcoming quest. The best things to get are a flamer from the Saugus Ironworks if you somehow haven't ran across that quest already, a scatter plasma if you also have the means of getting that, a high capacity and automatic combat shotgun, and lastly, if you're just feeling lazy and you got a lot of caps, simply hang out and keep on waiting for about 4 to 8 hours outside of the vault itself, and a vendor named Cricket will come who has a weapon called the Spray and Pray. The Spray and Pray is going to be worth every cap it costs right now because its features make it incredibly good for the upcoming fight. If you somehow can't get your hands on any of those weapons, just grab yourself a normal combat shotgun or the minigun from the beginning of the game, or anything that's large capacity and automatic. Also be sure to stock up on a lot of fragmentation mines. They're going to come in handy for this fight. Lastly, before you re-enter Vault 81, dismiss your companion. You'll understand why in a bit. Upon returning to Vault 81 armed to the teeth, you'll be prompted by just about everyone in the vault to go to the infirmary and investigate Austin, who has a strange bite that's caused him to come down with quite the infection. Listen in on the conversation taking place between the doctors and Bobby De Luca to learn that the Vault 81 was actually a secret experiment to develop the ultimate cure. And Bobby learned of all this because he went down there to do drugs and he read the notes about what's going on and that Austin's been bitten by a poisoned mole rat. Agree to help find the cure inside of the real Vault 87, and Bobby will lead you to the secret entrance, which is located in the reactor room. Now, for the love of caps, quick save, quick save, quick save. You're going to be needing to do a lot of it, and I suggest having a backup save of just before you went inside of the vault. The secret vault, that is. Inside of this vault, you will find infected mole rats that if they do any damage to you, they will give you a disease that permanently takes away 10% of your max health. There is no cure to this disease other than the near magical panacea that you need for Austin. Your companions can also contract this disease if they get hit by mole rats, so it's best to leave them outside the vault or back at one of your settlements. A good way to make sure that you don't get bitten is to completely max out your health by taking a couple rataways and stim packs, and that way you'll know if you have any damage whatsoever on your person, you need to load your latest save. The best rule of thumb while going through the secret Vault 81 is to assume that all dirt will spawn an infected mole rat. These things can and will spawn as early as the first staircase by the patch of dirt, and if you get one hit, you gotta start all over again. Lay down your frag mines as you progress to cover your tracks, but be careful not to actually put them down on the dirt. If by chance there's a mole rat waiting to spawn there, the mine will immediately explode and probably take you with it. Use corner cover to take out the 2 turrets that you'll find early in the vault, and then hack the terminal to unlock the Protectron. This guy's a legendary Guardian, so he's going to be really helpful, but he can't actually spring the mole rats hiding under the ground. Your best plan of action with this guy is to wait for him to get a considerable distance ahead, and then walk over the ground yourself to help spawn the groups of mole rats. The Protectron will take out half of them, and you should be able to easily get rid of the other half. And as a quick reminder, save, 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 save. Use the utmost of caution to fight your way to the upper levels of the vault. Here, if you have a few points put into your hacking skill, you'll be able to avoid the final fight, where it's extremely likely if you don't have a flamer or the spray and pray that you're going to get infected with the mole rat disease. If you can't hack the terminal, be prepared for the toughest fight in this entire quest. Upon going towards the back rooms of the vault where all the prison cell-like things are, you'll be greeted with a very large pack of mole rats that contains their queen. It's also very likely that a few of them might spawn in the patches of dirt behind you. Have I reminded you enough in this quest guide to quick save once or twice? Because that would certainly be a good idea right around attempting to get the password for that terminal. Once you have completed a near miracle and defeated all the mole rats without taking any damage, head to the back of the chambers and find the key on the desk in the back room. This will allow you access into the final room containing the cure for whatever disease Austin's been able to get. Upon walking in, you'll find yourself greeted by 3 makeshift graves and a Mrs. Nanny robot that's been modified to be French. The robot calls herself Curie and explains that she had finished a cure for pretty much everything known on this earth about 80 years ago. Tell Curie that you're with Vault-Tec and she'll gladly hand over the cure. After which, she'll follow you to the elevator and you'll head back into the main vault. Run down to the infirmary and agree with the doctor that the cure goes to Austin because you shouldn't have taken any damage during this quest anyway because you were careful and you quick saved lots. Or possibly you have some sort of ungodly skill, or you were just smart enough to bring a flamer along. If you refuse to give the cure to Austin for whatever reason despite not taking the disease on yourself, you'll be banished from Vault 81, and while you will complete the quest, you'll lose out on all the rewards possible. Giving the cure to the doctors for Austin's purposes will give you a short syringer rifle, which will likely be the first time you've encountered this in-game, as well as your own personal home in Vault 81. The denizens of the vault will now find that outsiders aren't so bad, and overall you'll have yourself a nice, happy ending. You'll also unlock Curie as a traveling companion who, while she is absolutely terrible at any sort of combat, it is rather handy that she'll occasionally pop out a stim pack for you to use every now and again. Now, there's one last quest you need to do before you can say you've completely covered all of Vault 81. Head over to the reactor room to find Tina De Luca, Bobby's wife, sister, significant other. I don't know what she is, it doesn't explicitly say, but she'll tell you that ever since the incident, Bobby De Luca's drug habits have gotten even worse to the point of where the doctors are now saying it's entered life-threatening territory. She'll implore you to help Bobby quit the drugs, and this will start the final quest of Vault 81, Dependency. Find Bobby hanging out in his little vault apartment doing more jet than you thought was possible for any one non-ghoul, and you'll be able to use a medium speech check to talk him into taking the addict doll in the infirmary and kicking his drug habit for good. Return to Tina to receive her thanks and a minor quest reward, and if you can pass a hard speech check, you can convince Tina to come join one of your settlements and live among the Commonwealth. And that does it. That is just about everything inside of Vault 81. If you found this video enjoyable or helpful, be sure to like the video and favorite it so you can come back and figure out the quest later. Be sure to also share this video with your friends who might be having trouble with any of the quests located inside of Vault 81. Lastly, if you have any additional questions about this quest, or there's a quest that you're having trouble with that you'd like me to get to a little earlier, be sure to leave it in the comments and I'll get back to you as quick as I can and hopefully be able to help you out. Thank you so much for watching. See you next time.